Hello, and welcome to No Preparation, a podcast that really wanted a tie on Sunday.
That's not true.
As always, I'm your host, Ian, here with Carter and Emmanuel. And, boys, let's start with that game Sunday night. Probably the best game of the year, except the last 2 seconds of it.
The best game of the year, last 2 seconds included.
I politely disagree.
What an entertaining time. About to go to sleep, and then Herbie decided to throw darts on every fourth down ever.
Was that the longest 2-minute drill you've ever seen?
That one drive was 22 minutes in real time.
Definitely the longest.
Like 2 minutes and 10 seconds of game time?
And from the Steelers' perspective, you're just like, okay, they're going to stop him. It's fourth down, and then he just throws another one. Okay, they're going to stop him, fourth down. He throws another one. Okay, they're going to stop him, defensive holding. Like, oh my gosh, it was an eternity, that drive.
It's probably had a live there.
I really wanted the tie, right? As many of us that did, I think. Basically, anyone who wasn't a Steelers fan wanted the tie because it was fun. And then we would have gotten the Tie-Gami because it was 32-32. Like, to lose it when they did is the most heartbreaking thing that's happened to me all season, and my team missed the playoffs. Like, if it had been 29-22, whatever, sure, That's like, oh, well, we had a fun time. The game was close. Whatever. We didn't get the tie. The fact that they went to overtime and there was like 2 seconds left and they were tied it's so incredibly heartbreaking.
Imagine being a Chargers fan.
Yeah, well, at least you have something to blame if you're a Chargers fan. Your head coach.
At least Chargers fans have kind of been able to accept this for a while, where like their team always does shit like this where they lose.
Yeah, it was like Justin Herbert's. Like Phil Rivers should call him up on the phone, like, hey, welcome to the Chargers. Unbelievable that happened like that. Herbert has the game of his life, and they missed the playoffs. Like, I don't know what else. What else was he supposed to do, other than have his wide receivers catch passes when they needed to?
Herbie the next Aaron Rodgers.
Well, maybe the one pick he threw. That's about it. That's about all you can ask.
Like, yeah.
He did throw a pick, didn't he?
He threw one pick, yeah. Although I feel worse about the punt returner trying to dodge dudes and just dropping the ball, like, straight up. He didn't even go down. He just dropped the ball when he was juking people.
That was not good.
It's just like the Chargers. I don't know if the Chargers outplayed them, but they definitely played well enough to win that game. And they had the weird Staley, I'm an AI, going for it on your own 16 play.
And then
4th and 2, I think. And then the muffed punt, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think they deserve to win. I don't think anyone on that team aside from Herbert deserved to win that game, to be honest. But Herbert, unfortunately, did play his heart out for nothing.
I'm still thinking about that throw. I mean, I'm still, obviously the big moment is the ending, but I'm still thinking about it. 2 seconds, like 3 seconds left in regulation, or 5 seconds left. There's one play. You're on the 30-yard line, and he throws just an absolute bullet in the double coverage right into the chest of his receiver for a touchdown to tie the game. Like, one of the most ridiculous throws I've ever seen in my entire life.
One of the previous drive was nuts too. It was like 4th and 21, I believe. And he just guns it into the end zone, and somehow they could score. And then he gets the 2-point conversion right after.
Even in overtime, he had a dart, and like insane dart between like 3 people that got caught. I think they ran it for like 40 yards or something. Like,
if that.
And he also threw he actually kind of threw the game-winning touchdown. Mike just dropped it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, if that drive had happened earlier in the game, or maybe they hadn't been out there for as long as they were on that drive at the end of regulation, I think Mike Williams scores on that touchdown, there he catches it and runs for 40 yards.
Yeah.
Like, he looked gassed.
Yeah,
like, I think he scores if that's earlier in the game, or if they're more rested.
Yeah, definitely.
But then in reverse, like, what's the Chargers defense doing? They were resting for a half an hour. They had over a half an hour off, just chilling on the bench, and they can't stop a run in a clear run situation.
They're not gonna stop the run, Ian. What do you want me to tell you?
Unbelievable, just an unbelievable football game.
They even got their right personnel out there apparently, and no.
I think when they tied the game up at the end of regulation, that was the most excited I've been at a football game in quite some time. Like maybe the Justin Tucker game winner against Detroit earlier this year would probably be the only other equivalent I have this season. Or maybe remember when the Ravens beat the Chiefs in week 2? Remember
That was a mess of a
when
game,
that
yes.
happened?
Yes. Where Carr
Long
gave you
time
guys the
ago.
ball. Carr gave you guys the ball for free, and then you gave it right back to him. Yes.
No, the Chiefs game.
Oh, the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
I do remember the Chiefs game.
When they were down by double digits, and then Mahomes threw an inexplicable interception. Ravens scored a touchdown, and then Odafe gets the forced fumble on Edwards-Helaire, and then they run out the clock. Man, I don't want to talk. This Ravens season was a mess, man. Just a mess. 14th overall pick, baby.
Listen, you guys are what, a 2-point conversion away?
2 2-point conversions away, because they would have had to win 2 games.
And one of them was like basically 2 inches away from the guy's hand.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers one is weird. I don't want to talk about this for too long because we've talked about the Ravens enough on this podcast. But like the Packers one is weird because everyone's treating that like, oh, if they get the 2-point conversion, they win. Like maybe, but was Robert Jackson gonna stop Aaron Jones, yes, but Aaron Rodgers with 30 seconds left? Like, I don't know. That game wasn't a surefire.
He just got a contract.
That game wasn't he did get signed. That game isn't a surefire win. It's really the Pittsburgh one, and honestly, nobody talks about the Browns one enough. I think the Browns one is the worst loss. Like you recover the onside kick and you're down by 2, and you have like 45 seconds to get 20 yards to get into Justin Tucker's range, and you get sacked. Like, I don't know, man. Whatever.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yep. They
Back to back.
It was three games in a row. They lost on the 2-point conversion. They lost that after they were down 24-3 when Lamar got hurt, and then they came back and made it 24-22. Recovered the onside kick, and then could not get the 20 yards they needed to win. And then the week after, they played the Packers and should have won and didn't. And then the Bengals blow out. And then the Rams game, they absolutely should have won, but they couldn't score a touchdown in the red zone. And then this week, they couldn't score a touchdown in the red zone. And that's it. The Steelers scored 1 touchdown in the red zone. The Ravens didn't. That's the difference in the game. That was the difference in the national championship last night, too. Alabama couldn't score in the red zone.
Go Dogs.
Well, we'll talk more about the Ravens in the offseason when we can do our draft stuff. Not that I'm not going to bring them up every single time we do a podcast, but that's what you get for having to deal with me. Okay, well, the only other thing I want to talk about from this last week before we go into the playoffs upcoming this weekend, Carson Wentz, huh? Carson Wentz.
Boy.
Oh man.
MVP Carson Wentz.
It's like every drive he just he threw the one and I'm like, okay, that's good. He did his part, and then he threw another one.
Did he throw? I don't entirely remember. He threw 3 picks and fumble. Is that what happened?
I know he threw 2 picks at least. I don't. Let me look at his stats.
I just remember red zone kept cutting to the Colts game, and it was like, and the Colts have turned the ball over again. The Colts have turned the ball over again.
It was 1 interception and 1 fumble.
Oh, really?
I think
it felt like more.
I could have swore he threw 2 interceptions, but
I think their return man fumbled or by the goal line or whatever it was.
I don't know. Like that was. I'm amazed that it took until it took the Raiders. The Raiders kind of figured it out, And then the Jaguars really figured it out. Like it took a while for teams to like realize you can just kind of stack the box and make Carson beat you. And then he usually can't beat you.
What do you mean? Are you saying that passing the ball to my other hand and trying to throw it is not ideal?
He was like randomly gaming on the Buccaneers though.
God, I forgot about that. Did they win that?
They
The Bucks won
lost.
that game because Fournette scored a
They were
touchdown at the end. God, this season was so. Was this season too? Was this too long? You think the season was too long? You think the extra week is too
Yeah,
much?
I don't. I mean, we got that extra week for what? The Steelers and Eagles to play. I don't know. If we'll get a seventh seed upset, and it'll be like, well, I guess it's worth it. But
Well, not
if we
even
don't get it,
that.
I mean, I don't know.
We had the 7 seed last year and it was fine. I don't think the 7 seed's entirely the issue. I
I
just
don't
think
think that. I mean, I guess what was the Colts or who was the AFC seven? The NFC seven seed wasn't good last year. I feel like.
it was the Bears last year. So you're really gonna insult MVP Mitch Trubisky like that?
We had a laughing stock of a game in the NFC because of the extra seed.
Last year the AFC was good. I mean, it was the wild cards were Ravens, Browns, and Colts. So I mean, I think the 7 seed is fine. It's almost like the NCAA tournament where you're gonna get you don't get them a lot, but you'll get them and it'll be fun when it happens.
Yeah,
It'll be fun unless it's my team that loses to the 7 seed. That would be.
but the extra week, I mean,
It felt
I
too
don't think
long.
it's necessary either.
I don't know if it was because this season was really weird with all the COVID stuff and all the injuries
That could.
and
It would be nice to get a seven, like a full season without any of the COVID problems to get a better like judgment on it. But
well, it just makes me think like because they're almost certainly going to go to 18. Like that's almost a certainty. And in a couple of years when they redo the contract the
They're for like 5 years or something.
union stuff, they're probably going to go to 18 because that's always what the owners have wanted because they make more money on regular season games. But I do like it felt a little too long, and I don't know if that was because by like week 17 everything like all the most of the like I think if week 18 had more on the line, it would be a little bit different. But it just felt like everything fell into place in the last couple weeks of the season where it was like all the divisions are clinched. The 1 seed in the NFC got clinched. Like we had the 1 seed thing going on this week, but the Titans won.
this is probably a closer situation than it's usually going to be. Like there's going to be more opportunity for teams to pull away. I feel like in other seasons where there's just not going to be anything, and they'll be like playing for like the 6th and 7th seed at best in week 18 a lot.
Oh, I mean the NFL got lucky that that game, that Sunday night game, like wound up being really important and good. I mean, I know they put it there because it was going to be important, but like they could have run into a situation where, like last year, where the game like almost doesn't matter for one of the two teams, or
Well,
like.
There was like 3 big games that mattered, and all of them went to overtime.
Yeah, they got
So-
really lucky.
I was waiting for Doug Peterson to come out from underneath the stairs.
That's Doug's music.
That might have been the second most unbelievable thing that could have happened that night, aside from what actually happened.
I cannot believe that, like that game went to overtime. Like the script is too good. The script writing was too good that it went like within 2 seconds of tying. Like you would have thought that game would just be like 24-13, whatever. Everybody go
They
home.
get to like 12 points, and it's like, oh well, it's 12 points now. It's not gonna tie. And then everybody's like calculating it out. Well, they kicked the field goal, and then touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion, and then it ended up happening.
I got really, really excited when they got the 2-point conversion. Because if they didn't get that, it was over. The tie was dead. And then he gets the 2-point conversion, and they get the ball back. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous.
All I have to say about the Packers is there was a lot of noise being made about Jordan Love. I got a message from like my mom, and then I got a message in our like Packer group chat, and everybody's like Jordan Love, Jordan Love. There's like a message in our fantasy group chat, Jordan Love MVP. I'm seeing a bunch of tweets, and then like 30 seconds later, 30 seconds later, I see the play on Red Zone, and he throws a fucking tight end screen for 60 yards. I'm like, God damn it. I thought I was going to see a sick-ass throw down the field, and it's a tight end screen for 60
Screen
yards.
to DeGuara, or yeah.
Oh, man.
Where, like, DeGuara made everything happen, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody was hyping me up for nothing.
Then he threw some picks. Or a pick? I don't know.
It wasn't really his. I didn't think it was that bad.
The first one wasn't his fault. The first one it went from his guy's hands to the other dude.
Oh.
And then the second one, they were just trying to score because the game was gonna be over, so he just threw it.
Yeah. Well, the Packers aren't playing this week, but there are. I'm about to try. I just had to do math in my head. There are 12 teams who are. Packers and Titans have byes this week.
Okay, math is hard.
Before we go through all of these games, what is the game that you're most excited for?
Probably, it's the NFC games. I don't know if I can. Cardinals-Rams should be the one, but like you mentioned it before, like it's a division game, and I'd have nothing against it being a division game. I think it'll still be fun, but we've already seen that, twice. And I just feel like there's going to be an upset in one of the Eagles-Bucks or 49ers-Cowboys games. So I'm excited for both of those games, to be honest.
I think the correct answer is 49ers-Cowboys, personally, because I think all of the AFC games are either bad or Bills, Patriots.
I don't know, man. The Raiders!
The Raiders.
That game could be good. That might be a good game, but there's no way I'm going to tell you that's the game I'm the most excited for. It's Raiders-Bengals. Like
Joe Burrow, Darren Waller,
There's
Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase.
4:30 game.
Yeah, it's the reason it's the game that's on at 3:30 Central.
And then I'm not looking forward to at all watching the Snowball Part 3, Patriots Bills.
I hope it's something stupid happens.
Are they gonna let Mac throw 10 times this game?
Why are the tickets are so low for that game?
Bills
I guess all the Bills are back. Everybody's like used to the Bills in the playoffs now. They're not trying to like why can you get tickets for like $50 to that game in Orchard Park?
You can get $50 tickets to that game.
Yeah, it's tickets as low as $46 at Orchard Park.
Well, damn, I'm about to drive up to Buffalo.
I mean, if you want to go to Rams Cardinals, it's tickets as low as $60.
What is this, man? Being a Packers fan is hell. I can't go to a regular game for half them or twice that much.
Well, I think it's because that game I can give you two reasons. One, there aren't that many Rams fans in LA.
Felt like a
and
49ers home game.
Yeah, and two, it's a Monday night. Like, if they get I really don't like the Monday night game. I don't know if you guys have different opinions on that. I think it ruins the whole Super Wildcard Weekend thing.
I agree. Last year was so fun. Like, just wake up Saturday, kill a couple hours if you're EST, and then boom, you're just watching football straight till the end of the day, and then same thing Sunday.
Like it was like the tournament. It felt like the tournament. It felt like the NCAA tournament for college basketball.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too.
And now it just feels like what it used to feel like, where the games start in the afternoon on Saturday and they run through like as one extra game on Sunday. There used to not be a primetime game on Sunday night, but then it's like it just doesn't make any sense to me because the game's now on Monday. It's separated from the other playoff games, and now the winner of Rams Cardinals is going to have to, unless the Bucs lose, is going to have to go to Tampa Bay or Lambeau on short rest. How is that fair to them?
It's not.
Like particularly, so you win your division. Congratulations, you get one home game, and now you have to play in Lambeau on Saturday in 5 days. Like, doesn't make any sense to me. It should be Saturday or Sunday. Like,
I agree.
I hope it doesn't do well, and then they move it back next year.
Yeah,
It'll do well.
ESPN kicked in an
Unfortunately.
extra $4 or $5 million for that one game, probably.
Why can't they just pay them the money to have the game on Saturday night?
That's a good question.
Like, there you go. I don't know. Fox only has one game this week, which is really weird to me. I don't know what happened there with the TV deal, but CBS has 2 games. CBS has 49ers Cowboys.
It's usually on Fox.
Does Fox have a streaming platform? That's the only thing I can think.
I mean, you
it's
can
like,
watch
you have Peacock and
Paramount Plus.
yeah, Paramount Plus, which might be. I don't know. That might be like something that plays into it.
No idea, but that just feels really weird. Well, let's start at the top. The game that, could be good, but no one's excited for. Raiders Bengals.
Raiders.
What are you guys looking for in this game? Or how excited are you for this game? And then pick your winners as well.
I mean, I've said it for the last 4 weeks. The Raiders are dead. They got here by beating Nick Mullins by 2 points and fucking Drew Lock by 4 points, and Carson Wentz, who we all saw last week, play by 3 points. I don't understand how they're even here. Joe Burrow is a menace. Joe Mixon is a menace. Jamar Chase is a menace. This game shouldn't be close, but it's the NFL playoffs, so who knows? But I'm gonna take the Bengals because I am, my heart is kind of with the Raiders now because they got the Steelers into the playoffs, and I'm a diehard Steelers fan, so I'm not gonna be angry if they win from here on out. But I don't understand how they're here.
I am also going to take the Bengals here, and like this shouldn't be close. Like, they should pretty much handily take out the Raiders here. The only thing is if the curse rears its head. Like, if it's the playoffs and the Bengals just implode like they have for 30 years, then maybe not. But it feels like things are going their way, that they could have had to play Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, and because of the genius of Rich Bisaccia, they're playing the Raiders, and they get basically, fresh meat put in front of their door instead of Bill Belichick.
I'll take the Raiders. Let's go, man. Let's go, man.
I mean, it could happen.
Raiders coming off an OT game and have to play Saturday, the first game. Yeah, they're totally gonna win. They're totally gonna win.
Cincinnati is a 5.5 point favorite in the book right now.
Yeah, it opened at 6.
Like, I know you'd rather play the Bengals than the Chiefs, but like, I don't know, man. Good luck. This is the path you chose. Teams don't often get to choose who they want to play in professional sports. You don't get to choose who you want to play in the playoff game. And the Raiders had a choice, and they chose this. So hope it works out for them.
Probably the right call. Like, they got blown out twice by their Chiefs.
I mean, yeah, it's the right call, but it makes these games significantly worse for us, the neutral fans.
They don't care about us.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
Godspeed to them. Because this next game would have been Chargers-Bills, and that would have been an absolute slobber knocker. And instead we have to watch, are we going to throw more than 3 times, part 3?
Yeah, they won. They played back in November. They won 32-13.
The Bengals?
Bengals won 32-13.
Was that game in Cincinnati or Las Vegas?
Vegas.
Oh, Lord alive. You tell me these teams have already played and the Bengals beat them by 20?
Indeed, the Bengals did not score most of their points until the fourth quarter, or whatever that's worth, but they
It was
did
close game,
kind of
and then
roll them.
they put up almost 20 in the fourth. Yep.
Can't believe that this Raiders team made the playoffs.
The Raiders have played the Bengals twice before in the playoffs, both in different locations, and won both of the games, and went on to lose the AFC Championship
Is that like in the 80s?
both of those playoffs. 91, I believe, and 75.
Oh, so basically almost the start, not the entire start, but almost the start of the Bengals losing streak in the playoffs was the Raiders.
Bo Jackson's last game.
So they're going to end...
Saying there's a chance.
No, they're going to end the losing streak the way they started the losing streak, by beating the
I don't
Raiders.
know, man. The Bengals might be rusty. They played like 2 starters this week.
I want nothing more than the Bengals to lose this game. From a purely emotional standpoint, it would be very, very, very funny. But then the rest of the AFC playoffs are kind of bad. You know, if you're running under the assumption that, like the Chiefs are going to beat the Steelers, which they might not, I could see a very, very cursed situation where that doesn't happen. But if you're running under that assumption and the Bengals lose, then next week you're going to have, like Raiders Titans. Like, okay. I mean,
that's if the Raiders come out and beat the Bengals, though, they're all of a sudden like riding off some sort of crazy energy that I could see put them past the Titans as well.
Well, that's if they get lucky. If the Patriots beat the Bills, then they're going to Kansas City. They'll have fun. You didn't want to. You told this team you didn't want it, but you told this team you didn't want to play them, and now you're playing them.
Maybe they can dance on the logo.
Yeah, they should dance on the logo again.
Might work this time.
This Buffalo game, by the way, the low for Saturday night is 1 degree.
Oh, that's wonderful.
What's the wind looking like?
The high is 9 degrees. I'm not sure about the wind, but
Mac's gonna throw like 5 times.
It's like unfair that they put that game at night. I know it's the Patriots. It's the best AFC game. They had to put it at night.
Awesome.
But like, man, it would have been a lot not a lot warmer, but it would have been a little bit nicer during the day.
As a Packers fan, bro, that's fucking awesome. I hope the Bills roll them.
I just wonder why those tickets are so cheap.
The total is 44. I'll take the under, please.
I don't know who's gonna win this game. I really, really don't. Like, I could see the New England coming out, getting an early lead and getting inside Buffalo's head, and things going really poorly. I could see the Bills coming out, and the New England hasn't looked good the last couple weeks, so I could see the Bills coming out and just, not rolling them, but winning comfortably. I really don't know. This is probably the best game of the weekend. It's just that I've already watched it twice, so I'm not as excited for it as, like, I think 49ers, Cowboys.
I'd like to see Josh Allen do some cool Josh Allen stuff, and the Patriots don't let Mac Jones play quarterback and they fall behind because they're babies and it's too cold outside. The spread right now is 4.5. Buffalo favorite at the moment.
There's gonna be an upset seeding wise, and I just don't know where. I don't know when to pick it. Because the Bills didn't exactly light the world on fire against Zach Wilson and the New York Jets this past weekend. I mean, they won the game, but it was pretty for a while.
I'm going to pick the Patriots to win this game, despite everything I've said, just because I don't see the upset happening in the Bengals, Raiders, or Steelers, Chiefs game. So it either has to happen here, or we're going to get a weird year, which rarely happens, where all the home teams win.
Chalk might be... See, the thing about Chalk this week is it would make for a pretty compelling divisional round. We'd get Cincinnati, Tennessee, and Buffalo, Kansas City. Those are pretty good games.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I guess New England, Tennessee, and Cincinnati, Kansas City are still pretty.
Yeah, I think those are
games.
good divisional games too. But I'm going to be rooting for the Bills. I also think it's Mac Jones' first playoff run, he's gonna have to make a play. We'll see if he can actually do it. But I'm gonna pick the Patriots solely on to upset premise.
Do you have any idea here, man? I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I can make a pick yet.
I said when I was watching the game on Sunday that like whoever the Bills play will have a good chance to knock them out because like Josh looked just kind of lost the last 2 games. Like he threw, not this week, the previous week he threw like 2-0 interceptions, and basically they won that game by his legs. Like he basically ran them all over the other team in that game. And then this week, it was just a thing where like I don't know what was going on, but Josh and his receivers were like going in different ways. Like Josh would think, oh, he's gonna run an out route. Josh would throw the out route. The receiver runs in, and it happened like maybe 10 times in this game, and it was just very odd. But despite all that, I don't want to trust Mac Jones in like his first playoff game, so I'll take the Bills.
Are we gonna have E-Man on an island again here? I really want to take the Patriots. I really do.
I mean, I could see it being like their last game at Buffalo, where like they just get the run game going. I hope that's not what happens, but I could see it happening.
Can't wait to see Mac throw 5 times and somehow they win the game.
I'm gonna take. I don't know. This is. I'm gonna take the Bills. But I'm not super confident in that. There's too many situations. Like if New England had looked better to end the season, like if they had beaten the Dolphins this weekend, I think I would have felt more comfortable. They looked pretty iffy on defense. They couldn't slow down Tua and the boys in Brian Flores' final game. So I'll go with the Bills.
New England cursed in Miami. They just can't win there.
For real.
So moving on to Sunday early afternoon, Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. I really want to take the Eagles here. I really do, but I'm not gonna. You can't count out touchdown Tom. Like I really like the Eagles. I think they can upset this team. I just don't think they will. Tom doesn't lose in the wild card round. It's happened like twice in 20 years. He doesn't do it.
I am taking the Eagles because I think they can win, not because I am afraid of the Buccaneers or afraid of Tom Brady and need them to be eliminated in this round for us to have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I just think the Eagles are really good. No, but I do think Jalen Hurts and if they can get the run game going, they can do some damage. I'm worried about Tom just going ham on their defense, but I think this is a actually pretty close game. The spread right now is 8.5 Tampa Bay, which is the second highest of the games this weekend. But I believe in the Birds. I'm not usually rooting for the Eagles, so go Eagles.
I will take the Bucks because they're the Bucks and it's Tom. But I do think the Eagles have a shot here. They have to get out to a lead because their thing is we could run the ball all day because we have a good offensive line. Blah blah blah. And the Bucks lost another receiver this weekend. They're supposed to get. I think they get Fournette back this week. And they should get a couple of the defensive guys they were down back this week. So we'll see. Like when Tom's randomly throwing touchdowns to Scotty Miller and who knows who else, I'll take the Bucks.
The wildcard teams this year are not very good, and I don't know why. Like the Cardinals, I think the Cardinals are good, but not. They've looked pretty shaky. They certainly after you lose to the Seahawks.
The Cardinals are just on par with the divisional playoff teams.
Yeah, but their record is just because they started the season 10-1, and then they went 1-4 down the stretch. If they hadn't, built up that, they're basically at, right now. I think nobody's talking about it because they're not the Steelers. They're basically last year's Steelers. For last team unbeaten, really really good record, and then you end the year and kind of losing games. And they won some of those games without Kyler, and they lost a lot of games with him towards the end of the year. So I don't know. We'll talk about that game in a little bit, but I don't feel good about either of those teams, to be perfectly honest with you. And as much as I want the Eagles to win this game, I just feel like, what's Tampa Bay's biggest strength other than their quarterback is their run defense. Their run defense is pretty good.
Third in the league, I think, in run defense, but people don't usually try and run against them, so I feel like that's part of it.
I just think for them to win, they need Tom. They need to get to Tom, which, I mean, of course you do. That's what everybody needs to do. But need to get to Tom, and then you hope he throws a couple picks like he was in that stretch during the year where he wasn't looking too hot. And they got unlucky. I think they're not getting sleepy Tom. They're getting wide awake, fresh brewed coffee Tom, noon Central Time, or 1 o'clock local time. So I don't know.
That's true. Maybe he'll fall asleep in like the fourth quarter.
Our second game of the day, the game I'm personally most excited for because I think it'll be a good game, and the game that I'm going to pick the upset in, 49ers Cowboys. And I kind of already spoiled myself there. But I'm taking the 49ers. I think Dallas has their final bad game of the season. And Baby Genius gets back to the divisional round for the first time in a couple of years.
I like this game because I just like both of the teams, which might be surprising, but my boy Mike McCarthy and that defense this year has been really fun to watch, even if Diggs is maybe letting up more yards than people realize. So getting interceptions is fun. I like to watch that. And Micah Parsons is an absolute beast, and I love Deebo Samuel to death. I love George Kittle. I just think there's a lot of like really good players in this game, and it should be like a fun game to watch. Hopefully, I do think the Cowboys are going to win. Their defense is just really, really good, I think. But we'll see if they can stop the run because the 49ers can run all over people. I also kind of need the Cowboys to get to the championship game as a Packers fan, so that weighs into it, I'll be honest. But yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys, and I do think this will be a fun game, or at least I hope it is.
I was so ready to absolutely slam on Dallas over the Rams. I was like gonna go all in on the Cowboys if they're playing the Rams. And unfortunately they're not playing the Rams because the Cardinals lost to the Seahawks. So
it is Dallas -3 is the spread right now.
Oh, apparently that's pretty close. That's actually closer than I would have thought.
It is.
The closest of the games.
I will take 49ers. They somehow just run over Dallas and get out to an early lead, and they win.
It'll just be if we get good Dak or bad Dak. I mean, they looked great against their divisional teams, and they looked pretty bad against the Cardinals. So
yeah. The NFC East will do that to you.
We'll see, I guess.
6-0 in the division, 6-5 against everybody else.
I wonder if, because CBS has that game and they have New England Buffalo. I wonder if they're who's gonna get Jim and Tony. Probably Dallas, but also New England's a pretty big draw too.
Probably Dallas. I would
Probably
guess.
Dallas.
You put Tony on the Dallas game. I wonder who they're gonna put on Buffalo, New England.
That doesn't matter because this game's on Nickelodeon, bro. Who's watching the CBS stream?
Oh, wait, Dallas, San Francisco's on Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
Oh, then they might put Jim and Tony on New England, Buffalo, then.
Yeah, we're watching Nate Burleson and the kids get covered in slime.
We're watching the slime
Jimmy
celebration.
G, MVP.
Our final game of the day, for some ungodly reason, the primetime game, because NBC wanted to spend 3 hours talking about how great of a man Big Ben is, I guess, while his team is down by 45 points. Is there a reality where I see the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game? Absolutely. TJ Watt gets a couple sacks. The Chiefs look like they did against the Bengals in the second half. They can't score. Bad Chiefs comes back. Ben completes a couple of nice little passes to his receivers, and they win this game like 16-10. Sure, that absolutely could happen. I'm not going to pick it. So I'm taking the Chiefs to win handily in this game, just like they did a couple weeks ago.
There's absolutely a universe where the Steelers win this game, and it is hilarious. I mean, I can see like TJ Watt getting like a strip sack, and the defensive line tips a ball up in the air and gets intercepted. Maybe they get a special teams touchdown or something. Deontay Johnson is covered by Sorensen for some reason and is wide open down the field. I can see it happening. I'm going to take the Chiefs. The Steelers shouldn't be here either, just like the Raiders. As much as I would love to see them win, I also think that NBC is going to be spending a lot of time talking about Patrick Mahomes, because boy, do they love Patrick Mahomes.
They do.
But
No, you overestimate how much they're going to talk about Ben Roethlisberger in this game.
we should keep track on Ben versus Patrick Mahomes mentions, and we can bring it up next podcast. But the spread right now is -12.5 for Kansas City, which is the highest, understandably.
That's the highest I've ever seen in a playoff game.
That's pretty high for
Two
playoff
touchdowns in a playoff game is ridiculous.
game. 7 seeds are here now.
They lost by 26 when they.
Well, I wonder what the Bears Saints was. I feel like that one was pretty high last year, but not that high, surely.
My goodness.
Yeah, I think Kansas City should win, and
Let's see.
I just hope it's a chaotic game, at least, because that would be entertaining.
Listen, Pittsburgh fans, I don't hate the Steelers, guys. I don't. I just the offense is just not fun to watch. Okay, guys, like I don't enjoy sitting down for 2 hours and watching Big Ben throw for 2 yards every pass. I just don't enjoy it. I just don't. But credit to Big Ben, great season, great career, all that stuff, blah 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 blah. Chiefs probably win by like 2 touchdowns, so I'll take the Chiefs.
He had a great career. He did not have a great season. They made the playoffs as the 7th seed, and their outside linebacker literally set the NFL sack record.
Tied it.
Okay,
Najee
sorry.
Harris did some things too.
Like,
He should have broke it.
if you have,
NFL, stupid.
why did they not give him a sack for the tackle on Huntley?
I was looking into this, right? And they have scorekeepers at every game, so you have to kind of figure like maybe there's like some home bias in some of these scorekeeping games. So like the week before, they didn't give him a sack when they played the Ravens, and it was like blah 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 on a play where like he technically should have got one. And then this week, I don't know. I'm assuming they just ruled the fumble a fumble, like in a possession change or whatever. But it felt like it should have been a sack. Like he got to him, like because Tyler recovered the ball. Yeah.
And he got up. Not that I
Yeah.
want to complain about the Ravens again, but then he recovered the bad snap, was on the ground, and then he decided, I'm going to make a play. I'm just as good as Lamar Jackson. And then he gets stripped of the ball and fumbles.
So like the week before, they gave the home scorekeeper in Pittsburgh gave him a sack on a play where the quarterback slid, and like he was the first one there. I'm gonna give him the sack. But then this week, we're at Baltimore here. The scorekeeper didn't give him a sack for this one, so I don't know.
Oh.
It's weird.
Bro, I want to be a scorekeeper. I'm gonna have to contact the Panthers and get in there. Sounds fun. I'm buffing Sam Darnold's stats every week.
Just let me know so I can play him that week in fantasy.
And then our last game of the week and of Super Wild Card extended weekend, We've already talked about how we don't like that this game is on Monday night, but at least I can watch the Mannings instead of the ESPN broadcast.
True facts.
Cardinals-Rams, I am really not confident in either of these teams. I'm going to take the Cardinals solely because I feel like I have to. I feel like I'm obligated to take the Cardinals, so I'm taking the Cardinals.
And I'm
Totally
obligated to take the Rams, baby. Let's see it. Matty Stafford.
Like everything was going great. It was like he was throwing picks. He wasn't playing well at the end. He's still not playing well. But then the Cardinals were like, "No, sir, you take the division. We don't want it. Russell Wilson is better than us."
And all of a sudden, he starts beating these winning record teams, and the narrative shifts to something else.
He's been throwing multiple interceptions in every game. He's not beating them. The team is beating him.
That's crazy. It's almost like win-loss isn't a quarterback stat. It's wild. Oh, brother.
He's gonna throw a pick six in this game. That's gonna be the difference in the game.
He's gonna throw 3 touchdowns.
I hope not.
3 touchdowns. I will not comment on how many interceptions he throws, but he's throwing at least 3 touchdowns.
I will take the Rams just because I think they have the better players. Like
They're better.
The Cardinals lost Hopkins a few weeks ago. Their defense is finally starting to sort of like signs of being who they actually are. Like that defense has overachieved all season. Like you look at the roster and you're like, who are these people? Minus like Buda Baker and like a couple other dudes. So I just think the Rams show up here and take this game. They have better players.
I mean, I would probably take the Rams if I wasn't doing an extended season-long bit. I don't think the Cardinals are very good, and I would legitimately be surprised if the Cardinals win this game. Maybe they'll look good again, but they've just looked pretty bad. Is Hopkins going to be back for this game? Do we know? Maybe that'll help.
From what I remember, it was like if they had a deep playoff run, then he'd be back.
Well, it's crazy they dropped from the one. They basically had the last third of the season that the Ravens had. They just had a better start.
They had a tough schedule down the end too.
Oh yeah, but playing the Rams and the Packers isn't a tough schedule.
Yeah, but I mean, I did kind of say the Rams were going to end up winning the division, so.
No, they did their best not to against the. It's unbelievable to me that Sean McVay is 0-6 against Kyle Shanahan. How's that happen? 0-6.
That would have been hilarious if they tied and then played each other again.
I really wanted them to play in the playoffs. Oh, now he's 0-5-1. He has half a win.
How would we get that? Would that be the NFC Championship game, I guess, if they played each other?
Yeah. The Niners would have to beat the Packers, and the Rams would have to beat the Bucks. Actually, no. If the Eagles win, and the Rams win, and the 49ers win, we get it next week.
Oh, there it is.
We'd get Eagles, Packers, and Niners, Rams. In Candlestick 2.0 in Los Angeles.
2.0.
Man, which of these teams is a threat to the Packers? The Bucks, and that's it, is in my mind. Like, that's the only team I can see beating the Packers.
Every team that's not the Cowboys is a threat. And I say that knowing, like, we're going to play the Cowboys and then somehow lose. But, no, I think the 49ers and the Eagles can just start getting the run going, and then our defense has struggled like the last couple of weeks against the run for whatever reason. Tom Brady is a terrifying human being. We barely beat the Cardinals, but I guess that was with DeAndre Hopkins. But I mean, Kyler Murray's a dude.
It was also in Arizona too.
Yeah, that's true. I feel most comfortable against the Cowboys and the Rams, but I think everyone's a threat in the NFC. I think like any of these teams could make a run, honestly, even the Eagles.
I mean, maybe, but the Packers are the favorites. I don't feel the same way about the Titans as I do about the Packers.
No, I get that. I get that. But I don't think the 7 seeds in the lower seeds in the AFC can or like have any chance of going to the Super Bowl realistically.
If the Steelers somehow pull off this upset, like if all of I'm trying to the funniest outcome of this weekend is all three of the wild card teams winning in the AFC, because then all hell breaks loose. Then you have Pittsburgh at Tennessee, and then the Raiders host the Patriots next in the divisional round. The Raiders have a home divisional game against the New England Patriots if that happens.
Be beautiful.
Like, oh my God.
Vegas would make so much money that week.
Like that's and then like imagine if we got Patriots Steelers in the AFC Championship game for the 300th time.
Oh man, that would be something.
What's like the most deranged Super Bowl matchup we could have? I think it's Raiders. It's who in the NFC? Like Raiders Eagles.
Probably.
Raiders 49ers. It's Raiders 49ers.
Or even worse, like there's no shot, but like Steelers Eagles.
I mean,
would we watch it?
that wouldn't even be deranged. That would just be like awful. It would be terrible. I can't deal with 4 or 5 weeks of Big Ben's gonna go out on top.
Oh God.
I know. No.
The media would love it, man. They'd eat that shit up.
The worst Super Bowl would be Patriots Bucks, because that would be the worst discourse timeline of all time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's Tim Belichick versus Brady. I'd rather have Patriots Cowboys than Patriots Bucks. Oh my God.
I just hope if we lose to the fucking Bucks, it's because Tom Brady actually plays out of his goddamn mind instead of him throwing interceptions and looking like trash and getting lucky.
I hope Matt LaFleur kicks a field goal again. Matt LaFleur is going to turn into the modern day Marty Schottenheimer.
They've resolved those issues, Ian. I'm sure he'll go for it.
He's going to win 13 games every year and never go to the Super Bowl. Love you, Marty. R.I.P. There's like the weird thing to me is like there's no team that like I think is super fun and I want to watch them go like make a run.
Really?
Yeah, like I guess the Bengals, obviously I'm a little biased. I don't like them as much as you would make. I guess that's the team, the young guys, and like to me that team was the Chargers. That was that team to me. Was the Chargers.
I think the Chargers would have been really fun.
Chargers slinging the ball around, Herbert doing crazy stuff. Or the Colts, even ignoring Carson, like the Colts, Darius Leonard's great, Jonathan Taylor's great. Like those were the two teams that I was like, those are going to be fun playoff teams, and they both imploded this weekend and missed the playoffs.
The Bengals, yes. Josh Allen is a dude. I mean, I know you don't like people in the 49ers, but like...
Well, no, the Bills have been around long enough in the playoff. Like this version of the Bills has made the playoffs a few years now, where I feel like they're not like, like, oh, the Bills are here. It's like, the Bills are a good team.
Okay. Well, I mean, if we're looking at it that way, you still have the 49ers, the Cowboys. I think both of them have very fun rosters. The Cowboys offense is just loaded with good players, and I guess I was talking about their defense before, and then you have Debo, who's like one of the most fun people in the league to watch, in my opinion, and George Kittle, and Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's incredibly entertaining to watch, in my opinion.
Like I guess it's the Niners or the Eagles for me, maybe. Debo, like you said, or the Eagles are pretty fun.
Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts. They don't really have... I don't know their defense well enough. I know they have that dude from the Lions. I can't remember his name right now.
Oh, Slay?
Yeah, Slay. But
I don't know. It just feels like every year there's always a wild card team or two that you're like, yeah, this is the team that's going to make a run. And it could be the Cardinals if they get it together, but like, it just feels like we have we have the team that is old and was probably going to try and rebuild, and they made the playoffs in the Steelers, sorry, and the Raiders, who are in a like the Raiders are really weird to me because if they had bombed out after Gruden got fired, they probably would have gotten rid of Carr and rebuilt, and now they're in the playoffs at 9, 10, and 7. The schedules, God, it's so 10-7, and it's like, so say they lose this game to the Bengals, what do you do as the Raiders? Do you keep Bisaccia as your head coach and you just try to run it back and so maybe we'll be better next year? Like, what do you do?
I would. That's what I would do. I mean, I don't know that they would do that, but then again, like I said, they've beaten these like bad teams, so I don't even know if you can look at their wins. So I guess if they lose like this game pretty bad and there's like no real, then maybe you have to swap things up. But if they beat the Bengals, then 100%.
But even then, I feel like that's honestly, I don't know. You know, I'm not going to say they shouldn't be rooting for a playoff win. You should be rooting for a playoff win. But like, I don't know. I just feel weird about the Raiders, where I feel like they have some pieces, but like I don't think Derek Carr is good as a good enough quarterback that you go win a Super Bowl with him. I think. And
I mean, he's
so
pretty clutch, and he just I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like diet Matthew Stafford, which maybe that's why you don't like him.
Diet.
he feels like a rich man's Carson Wentz to me.
Oh
A
God.
rich man's Carson Wentz.
Like maybe he's a poor man's Matthew Stafford and a rich man's Carson Wentz. I don't know.
Maybe that's the chain.
Like, I don't know. I just don't think that team is at a championship level. I feel like they kind of, they made the playoffs. They made the playoffs. What can you, they made
If
the playoffs.
Waller
But
stays healthy, if Crosby plays out of his mind like he has been, I could see it, I guess, but
I don't know. I know. It's just interesting to me that, like, it's always interesting to me when teams that might have considered rebuilding make the playoffs. Like the Dolphins Dolphins didn't make the playoffs last year, which kind of sucks. But like the 2015 Jets. And the Jets, were rebuilding and they won 10 games. And all of a sudden we're rolling it back. We're bringing back Ryan Fitzpatrick, and now they've been terrible every year since.
yeah.
So, I'm not saying certainly not the Steelers. The Steelers are a very good team that just don't have a good quarterback. But the Raiders, to me, are a good team. But being good doesn't get you a lot in the NFL. A lot of the time. So we'll see.
Are you a team out there looking for a new head coach? Can I interest you in Adam Gase?
He's an NFL. He's a genius.
That's what the Jets did back a few years ago. And granted, what happened? We sucked.
Yeah, the New York teams murdered themselves by hiring two of the worst professional head coaches I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, Urban Meyer was bad, but Urban Meyer was a very specific Urban Meyer kind of bad. Joe Judge and Adam Gase were just incompetent.
The
Just
stupidest thing
really
about the
bad.
Gase thing is, he was bad in Miami. Why did we hire him? He was bad in Miami.
Because Peyton Manning gave him a glowing recommendation.
True.
And then he ruined Sam Darnold.
Damn Sarnold.
Man. So I don't know. I mean, I think if you're looking at the playoffs this year, I don't even know why I'm thinking about this. We haven't even watched the playoffs yet, but I'm like, which of these teams are on the rise? Which of these teams, is this their last shot? I don't know if it's any team's last. I mean, maybe the Packers if Rodgers leaves, but I'll leave that for another time.
Steelers, I mean,
I don't think this is. I think this is just like a. I'm sure Steeler fans won't act like this if they win this game this week. They'll act like we knew, we believed. But I think this is just like, I mean, for them, I think it's the same thing as if the Ravens had made the playoffs. Like, I'd be like, oh, we're in the playoffs. Hey, I'm gonna have a fun time in the playoffs, and while we lose to the Chiefs, like.
yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's just the fact that they made the playoffs that's super fun.
How long is fucking Tom Brady gonna do this shit?
A few more years at least. Have you seen him? He threw for 5,000. He threw for over 5,000 yards this year. He's having the time of his life. He's living in Florida. It's warm. Like,
Stop. Stop playing football, Tom.
man, this man has Tom Brady in his conference for 1 year, and he's losing his mind.
Oh man! Imagine it being in your division.
That's
He man had it even worse than I did. We just had to play them in the playoffs a bunch.
What is he now? 42, 43? I don't even know.
Like, imagine it's like 2010 and your team's pretty good, and you're like, oh, our team's pretty good. We're in the playoffs, and it's like, oh, who else is in the playoffs? Peyton Manning and Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady. And you look over, and Aaron Rodgers had to play like who did they even beat? Who did they beat? Because that was the year they won the Super Bowl. Who did they beat?
They beat the Falcons.
So they beat Matt Ryan.
They beat the Bears, and who was the other team?
Man, fake
was
fan?
It the Eagles?
Fake fan? Fake fan confirmed?
Eagles? Was it the Eagles?
I feel like the Eagles were like a high seed one of those years.
No, the Eagles. I think the Eagles were like
09?
Bears were conference, Falcons were division. Who was the wild card?
I can't believe you don't know this.
I should know this.
For those wondering at home, when the Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2012, they beat the Colts in Baltimore, and then they beat Denver in Denver, and they beat New England in New England, and then they beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I'm sure you were all wondering and on that with bated breath.
He knows.
This is a real fan here. It was the Eagles. Okay, I was right.
Was it that's the Vic Eagles? Right?
Probably.
That was 12 years ago. Jesus.
I could tell you everyone the Jets beat when they won the Super Bowl and back in who knows when, Super Bowl III.
They didn't beat anybody. They just went to the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't know, and I just know that they beat the Colts.
That was the Vic Eagles, yes.
Who were in Baltimore at the time.
They were. Beat Johnny Unitas in the Super Bowl. There's a stretch there where the Jets beat the Baltimore Colts, and then the Mets beat the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series.
Oof.
Well, interesting. Anyway, you had to play like Michael Vick on his second team, Matt Ryan, and I don't even remember who the other team was now.
The Bears.
Oh, you had to beat Caleb. You had to beat Caleb Haney. You had to beat Caleb Haney to go to the Super Bowl. Unbelievable.
We did.
I don't remember who that is, man.
I don't even remember how the Colts lost that game. No, who did they? Oh no, the Jets. The Colts. Who did the Colts lose to? The Colts lost to the Chargers, and the Jets beat the Chargers, and then the Jets lost to the Steelers in the. Okay, that's what happened. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I'm stuck on this now. Regardless, the AFC was like hell, and I'm amazed the Ravens won a Super Bowl in that period of time. Love you, Joe. I need Joe to retire so he can like get his number retired in Baltimore.
I don't know, man. Joe's gonna be out there collecting checks still.
You know what, when Joe signed his monster contract, the first thing that he did was go to McDonald's. He went to the McDonald's drive-thru after he signed his contract.
I believe it, man. I believe it.
I mean, like Joe, after he got hurt, he just like wasn't as good. Joe, like, you know, he's not the greatest quarterback of all. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he was pretty good. You know, when he would just chuck the ball down the field and say, Torrey Smith's down there somewhere to draw pass interference.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Like you guys all like to talk about it's the meta. You got to throw it down and underthrow it. That was the Joe started that. That was the Joe Flacco. I'm just gonna chuck it down the field and get a pass interference. Carter, who do you want to see next week in Lambeau?
See the Rams, but because I need a certain path to happen in my mind for us to get to the Super Bowl, I want to see the Eagles.
Because you want the Eagles to take the Bucs out
Yes.
The
I want the Eagles to take the Buckets out, so I want to see the Eagles. But I feel like the Rams are just a team that we beat for some reason. Maybe it's because we've beat them like in the playoffs last year, or
maybe it's because their quarterback is like 2-15 against your franchise all time.
I think it's just because they're like more of a pass heavy team, and I trust our pass defense more than our run defense.
I would if
And
the Cardinals look. See, it's weird, right? This is the thing about having a bye. I know you've had enough buys recently to understand this. It's like whoever you're playing is coming off a win.
mm-hmm.
Like whoever you're playing is coming off a play. Like that's the thing with the Ravens 2 years ago. Like they were feeling good, but they're playing a team that just knocked Tom Brady out of the playoffs. That team was confident, and they hit you in the mouth, and then you don't know what to do. Like that, like what happened to the 2011 Packers.
I definitely see a like universe where the Eagles come into Lambeau and just get the run going, and we can't stop it, and Aaron Rodgers goes insane, and then we have like a fucking muffed punt or something, and we lose the game. But
I'm not even worried about that. I might be more worried about the Cardinals coming to town. Hopkins is back. Kyler looked good. They beat the Rams, and he looked good. And Cliff has finally figured out his play calling again. That's the situation I'd be more worried about.
I just meant because they'd be knocking off Tom Brady, but
well, I guess
I
you
would
go.
be afraid of
Parallels.
I would be afraid of Kyler for sure, and I'd be afraid of the 49ers too. So,
well, hopefully it'll be a good weekend, good super wild card weekend. Even though I'm disappointed there's not 3 games on Saturday, I'll survive. I'll make do. You guys have anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to highlight about this weekend's games or last weekend's games or the New York Jets for whatever reason?
nothing particularly.
Don't all speak up at once.
I cannot remember anything at the moment. No.
Okay, my last question then will be, E-Man, who is your top draft prospect this season? Who do you think is going to go number 1 overall?
Probably the Michigan guy.
Hutchinson?
Yeah, he had the best season out of the 2 guys who right now everybody has at the top. It was Thibodeau most of the early year, and then Thibodeau got hurt. He didn't play as much. He didn't play that much great competition. Michigan at least played some solid teams, and their defense was really good this year. So,
who do you want the Jets to pick with their first round pick?
that's tough, right? Because like we're at 4, and I could see a world where the lineman falls to 4, and then Joe falls in love with the lineman always, and he's like, all right, let's go with the lineman, and that would be kind of crazy. Like you have like Mekhi Becton on one side, and then 6'7" Evan Neal on the other side. It would be kind of ridiculous. But I can also see a world where they're going to get a lot of pressure to fix the defense because the defense really struggled this year, specifically the secondary. So I could see a world where they take like a corner or something like that.
They should take Kyle Hamilton if he's there.
I could see that. I don't know how they value safeties, but I could see it.
Because the mocks I was looking at had the Giants taking Hamilton at 4, and then the Jets taking Stringer or whatever, the LSU cornerback.
Oh, Stingley. Yeah.
Stingley. At 5, which I feel like is a pretty good move. They need to take defense, and like unless Neal drops to them, then maybe because you have the 2 picks, right? Maybe if it breaks where you can take Neal with that pick, and then you take a
defensive player. Yeah.
You take a defensive player because when I was looking at had like they take defense with that first pick, and then Garrett Wilson with the second pick, or is that what his name? The Ohio State wide receiver.
That's one of them, yeah.
So we'll see. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that in a few weeks because I'm very invested in the draft now.
Welcome.
Future Baltimore Raven and Kobe Dean.
I'm sure you enjoyed watching him last night.
Yeah, it was great. I was he tackles? We doesn't miss tackles?
Tackles. Wow.
We don't miss tackles?
The line's kind of set low there, huh?
Yeah, well, when you have to watch like a bunch of dudes play for most of the season. Marlon will be back. Marcus Peters will be back. Hopefully they'll draft a safety who can start right away. Maybe Jordan Battle from Alabama. Put him out alongside Chuck. Then Chuck can kind of do Chuck things instead of having to play free safety.
Chuck things.
I just want somebody that I can, I know I'm not getting Ed Reed. I'm not getting the second coming of Ed Reed, but I'd like somebody that can
I want someone that can cover.
Yeah, somebody who's back there and like picking off passes. They didn't intercept any passes this season. Well,
it's the ones that Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, other than when Matthew was throwing him to Chuck. Carter, do you have any soccer news?
I just want to, to all the United States men's national team staff that are listening to this highly pushed podcast, can you please put one of the men's qualifying team games in Charlotte, please? We got a new MLS team coming. It should be a given. Give me a game. I want to go to a game. Thank you.
I've been the one before there. I didn't go to a qualifying game, but I went to a gold cup game. One of the tournament games that was at Soldier Field. It was a lot of fun. We beat Costa Rica like 5-1 or something.
I went to a
lot of fun
game as well at Lincoln Financial. They are fun indeed.
Well, that's all for us this week. Hopefully the playoff games exceed our expectations, because I know I'm a little wary for some of these matchups. Hopefully we come back with 6 or maybe 5 bangers for next week. Thank you guys as always for listening. We're now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so I can't say everywhere you get your podcasts, but you can find us most places you get your podcasts, as well as the YouTube channel. I will continue to upload those as well, just with a little less fancy visuals, because, a little less work for me. So if you're listening on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us on either of those, rate 5 stars, leave a glowing review about how high quality our Matthew Stafford opinions are, anything you so choose. But as always, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time.